Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sam Popple, along with my co-host, William McClellan. What's going on, Will?
All's good, man. Super excited for today's guest. It's going to be a really cool one, real niche, but I think it's going to really drive up some great interest and, really pique some people that are interested in getting into real estate and just giving them a whole new idea of it. So.
Oh, dude, definitely. This is a little bit next level for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely something Will and I aspire to. So both of us are excited. I know Will's got his notepad out, as do I, because we're definitely learning from this guy. So today we're gonna have on Charlie Cameron. He currently has 8 assisted living homes under management. 5 are owned by him, then 3 are owned by the fund that they launched. They launched a mastermind. They have a 12,000 member Facebook group. So, I mean, this thing is definitely growing. Their own fund. He's a former active duty. His wife is still currently active duty, and they have a son and daughter. So this is a great guy. He's a family man. He was really, really done well. So I can't wait to have him on the show and learn all about his what he's doing today in assisted living. Hey, what's going on, Charlie?
What's up, boys? Thanks for having me today. I'm stoked to be here.
Hey, man, we're stoked.
What's happening?
Yeah, dude, everything's happening. There's so much going on, and everything's accelerating so quickly. It's even hard to slow down. There's just so much to do, and I'm so excited to get to it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Time. For sure.
Whenever we're talking ahead of time, when you were just telling me, some of the things about what you're doing today, like I was already blown away. You got a massive Facebook group. I mean, building a mastermind is huge. So I mean, you're already you're kind of an expert in this field. So I know we're definitely excited to hear about it. But I'll let Will take everything away and start everything off.
Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and give the listeners what they want and get right to it, because this is going to be a jam-packed episode today. But let's just start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about life before real estate, kind of how you grew up, college, the military, which kind of led you to your path and where you're at today.
Yeah, I grew up a military kid. My dad was active duty Air Force for 33 years. I moved around every 1 to 2 years growing up. So that was kind of wild. We lived overseas and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. I got a really good world experience and experienced a lot of places and a lot of people from an early age. Didn't know what I was supposed to do with my life, but I knew I was a nerd. So I got a scholarship through ROTC for the Air Force, and I went and did ROTC, University of Virginia. Got my mechanical engineering degree, had a blast there. Whew, that was fun. Also did volunteer firefighting while I was there, which was badass. But then I entered active duty and traveled around there, spent a few years in middle of nowhere, New Mexico, blowing stuff up. And then I went to Ohio and did cool stuff that I can't talk about. And then I went to Florida, right around your neighborhood, and ate at your restaurant a whole bunch.
I love that.
Yeah. And along the way, I guess you probably want the transition to real estate. While I was in Ohio, I was getting into stock market investing. I knew nothing about real estate investing. And I just bought my first house, and I was talking to a buddy in a bar, and he's like, "You ever thought about real estate?" And I was like, "Dude, that's dumb. Why would I want to fix toilets in the middle of the night?" The same thing everyone starts with, right? And he sent me this article that had like the 4 profit centers of real estate, and I read it. And I was like, "Wait a minute, wait, just a minute." And then I went down the rabbit hole, and 8 months later, I bought 2 fourplexes as a package, as a brand new dad, and self-managed those, and it was kind of off to the races from there. So I did small multifamily value add in Ohio for a few years. Then I joined a kind of military investor mastermind, and I pivoted to cash flow. So I went all in on short-term rentals, acquired a nice portfolio of those. And then I learned about residential assisted living and said, well, this is even better. I'm out. Forget serving all these crappy guests. I feel a lot more fulfilled on the assisted living side, and the potential is just so much greater in terms of where we can go in this industry, in this asset class. And it's just getting started. Over the next 2 decades, it's going to be insane. So Yeah, my wife is active duty. I have 2 beautiful kids. I have a 7-year-old daughter who's the world's most princess, and my son Logan, Logan the Destroyer is what we call him. He's going to do great things too. So that's kind of where we're at now. We just moved to Virginia. We are just going all in on assisted living. Oh, and along the way, I built a real estate team with EXP in the Panhandle. So
Nice.
that serves mostly military members. So a little bit of everything along the way.
I love how you jump straight. Like your very first, real estate investment was an 8-pack. Like the 4 straight. Like go no doors to 8 doors, like right away. I mean, that's just like I love the enthusiasm of that jump in, and then. I mean, I definitely know what you're talking about as far as like dealing with guests because I've done some Airbnb and short-term rentals. I like which I do like that better than I do like say like Class C rentals because like it's better. But I can kind of see where you're going at that. Going to the assisted living, really taking care of someone is even a higher calling and more rewarding. So very very cool.
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned along the way I left the military, and my business partners are both in the same boat. They're kind of transitioning, and we are all in on assisted living together. One of them brought it to the other one, and then they both brought it to me. Somehow I suckered my way in, and now that's all we're focused on for the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. Was there anyone early on that got you interested in real estate? Like that, I guess that was that buddy that brought it up to you.
Yeah, and he never bought any rental real estate, which I find is kind of wild. But sure, I listened to the Bigger Pockets podcast when it was new, back in the day. One of the episodes that really struck me was a Jake and Gino episode. I don't know if you know who they are, Wheelbarrow Profits, but they talked about basically how to do value add and refi and roll with multifamily. And I was like, wow, that's cool. I'm going to do that. I never ended up really doing that. I more of pivoted and then pivoted again, but that same concept applies to assisted living, which is kind of cool. I always thought I'd do some sort of syndication fund. I had no idea 7 years ago that it would have been in assisted living. To this date, we believe we have the only fund focused on residential assisted living, which is kind of cool. And that was sort of by accident that we have that fund that was meant to be a next year or year after that thing. So we're here and we've done it and we've raised. And so that's cool. But it's been a wild journey.
Yeah, I'm so ready to hear about that fund. I'm gonna let Will take it back, but I'm eager to hear about how you got this fund going.
Yeah, I am too. Can you tell the listeners a little more in depth of what residential assisted living is? I know because we've been bouncing around, and then also people always love to hear about that first deal, and a lot of people seem like they're limited, or I shouldn't say limited, but they can only max out that first deal as a 4-plex. So I would love to hear how you got the 8-plex as your first deal, and then transition also as we get through the episode, really allowing the listeners to understand what residential assisted living is.
Yeah, well, let me talk about the 8-plex, and I'll do the assisted living thing. And I think this will be a valuable lesson for your listeners. I went to a local bank, and I brought it. So I'm an engineer, so I built my own. I have a calculator for every asset class you could think of, and for anything you could possibly do. And so I built a calculator that had a nice, beautiful printout sheet for a lender. I brought that and sat down with a loan officer at the local bank in Ohio and said, hey, here's what I'd like to do. Here's the properties. Here's the cash flow. Here's the debt service coverage ratio. Yes, I'll sign as a personal guarantor. And they were like, we've never had anybody walk in here and have materials prepared. Like
ready
this.
to go. Yeah, I love
it. How the hell is that even possible? I figured that was the requirement, but that was kind of an exception to the norm. And so that stuck with me. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm already willing to do more than others. And this is really, it's not rocket science. If you show lenders that you're prepared, they're going to want to back you. And you got to think of it from their perspective, right? They are a partner to your business. They're necessary for your business. Mm-hmm. So how can you serve them? Well, make their life easy. Make it easy for them to want to lend to you.
I love it.
And then they'll do it again. So then they allowed me to go buy 16 after that. So,
oh my gosh.
So really just like being prepared and bringing those materials with you really just sets a whole new level and sets you up for success. I mean, frankly, I had no idea right? Like I all I had was the house I bought. That was it. That's the whole track record I had. And they were like, sure, we'll take a chance.
That's amazing. So talking about golden nuggets, like we always like having little nuggets there. Take the time, listeners, and rewind that. I mean, that's just such a cool story. And I really love how you threw that in there, that the banks or however you're getting the money is a partner in your business, right? That's really going to be the quickest and easiest way to start building and scaling. Because a lot of people, I think, they want to do things by themselves because it's more conservative, but sometimes it's really not more conservative. If you're doing the math and you're making everything happen, and you can get a local bank or something to agree mostly on terms because the numbers work. People, I always heard this whenever I was young, going to like meetups. It's like, hey, if the deal's good, the money will be there.
100%.
People want to beat what they're getting a return in the market. And if you're going to these meetups, you're already taking a step in the right direction, trying to network. But if the deal really is as good as you think it is, it'll get funded. So I think that's just so cool. You went from like one house to eight units. It's so cool. So let's transition a little bit back in right now what life today is. And exactly for the listeners, as we go through this episode, what residential assisted living is.
Yeah, when you say assisted living, go ahead.
I was going to say, definitely want you to add in how you got the very first assisted living deal.
Definitely.
Sure, yeah. I suckered myself into a partnership with two great dudes. That's how. And I'll go into that, but. So residential assisted living, most people are thinking a nursing home, right? They're thinking in a nursing home facility or a senior care facility, and it is not that at all. So, those facilities, they're big box. They have one caregiver to 30 residents. It tends to have a really, like industrial feel to it, institutional feel, right? As opposed to a residential house, literally a house that is converted or built for assisted living, where you may have anywhere from 8 to 16 or so, sometimes 20 residents, and you have 1 to 10 or 1 to 5 caregivers, staff 24/7 in that home. And it's a totally different feel because it feels like a home. And so these residents are getting better care, they're getting more attention, and they're doing it in an environment that they like and the families absolutely love. And guess what? The staff members love it too. How would you feel being on a floor managing 30 residents versus being in a home managing 5? It's a totally different feel. And people are loving this model. It's more common in some states, but it's needed everywhere because guess what? The families want mom and dad to have wonderful care in a wonderful environment really close by so they can still visit, right? Totally. The last few years of their life, they want dignified care for their family members, and they want to be able to spend time with them. So it's a really awesome model that, interestingly, is also financially better usually for the families.
That's awesome. Now, are there any type of government programming that kind of help convert a residential house? Or
not that we've seen. We've seen a lot of scams about that kind of stuff. So always beware when people are offering free money. It's usually doesn't exist except maybe during COVID. But no, typically not. There may be more in the future. There's a 1 million bed shortage right now, according to some bigger demographic. Yeah, some data out there. However, I'm an engineer and I crunch the data and it looks much bigger to me. Like currently in all 50 states, there's between 1 to 5% of assisted living beds across facilities and homes to the number of seniors over age 85. That doesn't make sense to me because 7 out of 10 seniors will need care in their lifetime. So the fact that there's 1 to 5% when there really should be closer to over 50% perhaps,
wow.
is insane to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? But you just mentioned that it's a win-win for the families. Usually it's more affordable for the families, and then also it sounds like it's a win for you in the best investment side. A higher. So tell us a little bit about like how does that work as far as being a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, so let's talk about the financial win piece. I mean, there's three big pieces of it that we really like. And one is that the demographics are going to always, the demand is going to outpace supply, period. You cannot stop the aging boomers from aging. And they're the biggest population. So, and then there's the fulfillment of the model and there's the financials of the model. When it comes to the financials, a nursing home, a senior living facility, generally the cost is about six figures, maybe just under. Per year to be in that home. In-home care, if you were to bring an aide in just 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, that would cost you nearly 80 grand. And an assisted living home, currently the median price for basic assisted living is about $4,500 to $5,000 a month per resident. So they're actually saving money and getting a better environment, which is interesting. Now, of course, there's a lot of factors at play. How nice is the home? Or do they have a single, their own bedroom, or is it a shared bedroom? Where's the location? What's the median income for that location? What's the availability? Really, the availability problem isn't a problem because there's just not enough anywhere. But then you look at the financial model from the owner standpoint. Okay, 10 beds times $5,000 a month. Right? Do the math. That's a $50,000 a month income stream. Now, of course, you have some pretty hefty expenses. You have 24/7 payroll. And
Sure.
So that's your biggest expense. And make no mistake for the listeners out there, this is not like an Airbnb. People's lives are at stake. This is a very legitimate business, and you have to be focused and passionate about senior care. It doesn't mean you have to do the care yourself. If you get the right home with the right financials behind it, you can have a manager that runs that home for you.
I was curious. How do you find that person or your staffing? Like, is that something you handle, or do you outsource that, or how's that work?
Yeah, to date. So let me back up and talk about the business models we've been involved in. So we got started with lease to operators, what we call that. There wasn't really a name for it. So we purchased a handful of homes where and these homes are unique. So they generally have to be retrofitted. They have to have wider doorways. They have to have roll-in showers. They have to have a residential sprinkler system. That's probably the biggest one. They generally have to be updated because if you want higher income, the home needs to feel more beautiful, more luxurious, really. And so these homes are unique, and you might add more bedrooms as well. So that they tend to be a little bit more unique and a little different than a lot of homes in the area. So for that reason, you can lease them to an operator of one of these businesses for, let's say 3x the regular lease amount. So we bought homes where our criteria was to cash flow about $3,000 a month after all expenses, which is on a residential home. I don't know where you can do that. And even at today's interest rates, in anything other than this, right? So that was mind-boggling to us. Oh, okay. And it's almost like a double net lease. We commercially lease these homes for 3 to 5 years, where they handle most maintenance. So really kind of an interesting model compared to single family. If you get the right operator, it's amazing. And then there's that's less common than owning the whole thing. But even that, where you lease to the operator, that's a good model for both parties. Hey, it's basically passive for us, $3,000 cash flow. Where the heck else are you going to get that? For the operator, this business takes money to start. So having to buy a home too could be not possible for them. If they can lease it and start their business, hey, that's great for them. So really there's a win-win there. And then that operator may go on to then buy the next house and build their business from there. And then there's owning the whole thing. And so to date, we have raised money for a very experienced operator for 3 homes. And so we're partial owners on the full operation. And then we'll be delivering returns to the investors there. So you kind of have a couple of options. You can, promote caregivers to become managers of these homes. You can find, burnt out nurses that are getting run ragged in their current healthcare job. Like healthcare is hard right now.
Definitely.
if you could provide an opportunity to, manage a 10-bed home, that could be a much better experience and opportunity for them. So I think it will be easy to continue to find staff and managers from healthcare facilities and from big box facilities.
And what exactly are you looking for? Like, what's your perfect situation, or is it a combination of all three?
Yeah, we have transitioned. We thought we were going to be doing the lease to operator thing forever, and
sounds
then
cool. Yeah, it sounds really
yeah,
good.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Again,
just to be clear, that is what you started with on the first couple was the lease operator. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, and at the time we were all active duty, and it was like, well, we can't get into operations. That's a serious business. We need to make sure we have the experience and the time to do that right. Right.
Totally.
This is not something to just be like, whatever. Like, and there are people who do it part-time, like they have a full-time job and they operate. We know doctors who have, 10 homes that they also own the operations for. So it's totally doable with the right people and building a team around you. Mm-hmm. But we just didn't feel comfortable with that yet. We wanted to kind of ease our way into it. So the way we did that was raising for and getting an inside look there. And now we are getting into operations, and we're approaching it from three different aspects. We are raising for other people's homes because we might as well continue to do that. That's a big thing. There's always going to be a need for money for that because they're kind of niche to finance, right? And then we are looking to acquire existing assisted living operations that are big enough that we can put a manager in place, because we have no business managing it ourselves. And then the third piece is building from the ground up. So, taking a home and renovating it, yes, it might be the faster route, but frankly, building from the ground up exactly to spec, really nice homes, especially in areas that don't have them yet, holy smokes. I mean, the value there that you get from what it costs you to build it to what it's worth the day you open is almost double. So,
I love that model.
It makes tons of sense.
Well, it's funny, Charlie. It's hilarious because I write down good ideas. Literally, what I wrote on this paper before you even said that was a note to talk to Will later. Hey, we need to build to rent assisted living and lease operators.
Yeah.
It's like
not a big thing. I looked it up in the Panhandle. Not a big thing there. There's very few.
Man, we might need to be your Florida partners. This is a beautiful idea.
Where are you guys predominantly operating currently? Like
all of our lease to operator homes are in the Phoenix greater metro area. Okay. The ones that we're partners in are in Wisconsin, and we're currently for our assisted living mastermind members, we're evaluating raising for homes in various locations. So
okay, cool. That's super exciting. I mean, I want to kind of touch back a little bit, saying that you just got in the space 2 years ago, just started like a member page last year, and fast forward in 12 months, you put together over 1,200 people and members, started a mastermind and a fund. Like let
me pause you. It was 12,000. 12,000, not 1,200, 12,000.
12,000 members.
Yeah. 12,000 members. Okay. Yeah. Even crazier. Oh, thanks for stopping me, because I want to make sure the numbers are right. That is incredible. This trajectory, I don't know if there's many other specific niche areas in real estate that are having this type of rapid growth. Now, obviously, it goes kudos to you and your partners, right? You guys are working at another level. But it should be super exciting for the listeners to kind of be able to listen, really absorb what you're saying, and say like, oh my gosh, my life literally in 48 months could be drastically changed if I kind of follow X, Y, and Z. And remind the listeners again, like what your page is and how they can find a little bit about your mastermind.
Yeah. So
I was already looking forward for him to tell me where the mastermind was.
Yeah. You can learn more about the mastermind at theralroom.com, theralroom.com. You can also check out our free Facebook group. That's Facebook.com/groups/residential assisted living. We believe it's the largest Facebook group focused on residential assisted living. I started that 11 months ago as more of a, let's use this to find more operators to lease homes to. And fast forward 11 months later, 12,000 members, and we started a mastermind and we created a fund, and it's nothing I expected 11 months ago. But we saw a major need for a better way to help people learn more about assisted living, to start their assisted living, to fund their assisted living, to figure out what models are even available to them, to analyze deals. I built a calculator, of course, for the members. Hold people accountable. That's such a big thing with masterminds. And a lot of our members, not a lot of, some of our members end up, hey, I'm actually going to go do this franchise model. I'm going to go hire this person or this mentor as well. So we're not really in competition with franchises or coaches or anything like that. On the contrary, we bring those folks in to talk to our members so they get exposure to what on earth is available to them in terms of what they can go do. We help them set their goals, we hold them accountable, and we really help move them along and get them the resources they need to be successful. So it's a perfect pairing really with those other things that are out there.
Sure.
Not one specific one is necessarily the best or right one. It just depends on the individual, right? There's models within models in this space. We talked about lease to operator. We talked about renovating. We talked about building from the ground up. There's memory care. There's, so there's really a lot of ways to approach this. And that's what we're trying to do is help people figure out their path and provide the other resources that are missing along the way.
Gotcha.
Yeah, go ahead, Will.
That's really interesting because I think that I think there's probably a lot of local operators, don't you think, that maybe there's someone that's just caring for 3 or 4 individuals in their home that could definitely use, like maybe the numbers aren't really running well. I feel like I've seen some smaller like residential where it's just like people older or even people in the family. You might have a grandparent or something like that, and then someone's trying to take care of them, and it kind of can be overwhelming. I see that there could be a space for acquisition and or help in a lot of those types of scenarios too, which I don't know. This is such a cool chat. I think I'm really glad that you're on. Go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. So, when you were leasing, how many of them did you lease before you decided to, have own your own management for one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 homes leased to operator, and then we all of a sudden we're basically given an opportunity to raise money for a couple of homes, and for 3 homes, and we're like, we're not set up for that. So, I'm like scrambling, need an SEC attorney quick, dude. I need you to file this paperwork in 5 days. And we thought that we thought that was going to be end of 2025 goal. Maybe we'll launch a fund. Maybe was the word. And we're like, no, now we need it yesterday. And so we did it. We raised. We got part of that. We're about to see the first distributions. That was like 3 months ago.
No way.
And so, if you don't mind us asking, how much did you guys raise?
We raised $350 for one and $450 for the other.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So not a crazy amount,
But I mean, going from zero to first fund, to be able to fund 800,000.
Yeah, we raised for our own lease to operators earlier that year. So we raised $1 million this year, which up until that point we'd never raised money. It was always something I had that limiting belief towards, right? And I did feel like, especially in assisted living, we needed to take our lashes first. Like, hey, we need to cut our teeth in this a little bit before we raise money. But once the first time I set up a distribution for an investor, it was a game changer for me. Like, holy smokes, I got to bring in somebody and pay them a return, and we win too. And it just the switch flip. Yeah. And then now that's essentially how I go on Facebook and I'm like, hey guys, looking for some more folks to join in on the returns. Who wants in? And people just come out of the woodwork. When you think of it these are business partners in a way, and you're giving them something they don't normally have access to, right? Most people just their whole life, they're going to just invest in the stock market. Hey, what if I gave you 10% cash flow and a 20 to 30% return after 5 years average return? Does that sound better? Awesome. Let's do this together. Right. And so I just think it's a beautiful thing that I have fallen in love with, which I didn't expect.
That's cool. Can you, I'm so fired up, and I think it would be advantageous for the listeners to kind of get a little bit more of that feedback, because I felt like you kind of just breezed through it. Like, what were no, on how you started? What was the pitch? What, obviously the deals are there. You're creating calculators for everything, right? So those are great things. Plus you have this member base of 12,000. So I'm sure, that reach helps, but I know you said it was something that you weren't really imagining, but then once it happened, it kind of changed that mind. You had that shift in mindset. What were some of those butterflies or the first things prior to the pitch or putting the fund together? And how'd you kind of navigate that for some people that might be at this level and they're thinking, I want to do my first syndication, or I want to do my first raise. Walk us through that, because that's something that's super exciting towards me, for me, and I'm probably speaking for Sam, but I think he feels the same way too. And for me, it's really foreign, and it's something I would love to do. But I think I have that I feel reserved at times too. So kind of walk, and maybe selfishly walk me through it.
Yeah.
Our lids.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of people are like, I don't want to feel like a salesperson. I think that's the biggest hesitation. It's not so much the, what if I lose other people's money, right? Because you're going out there and getting into it. Real estate better than anybody else. You will be if you are more experienced in it than everybody else, then you ought to be a good steward of it, right? And so I think that's not truly the problem. That a lot of people will say that's the problem. You're probably not gonna bring those investors on if you thought it was too risky in the first place, right? You would just do it yourself or not do it, right? So the real issue is people feel like they're a salesperson. But as soon as I realized we raised money from friends and family first for one of our lease to operator deals, that's how good it was. We're leasing this house for $11,000 a month, a house, $11,000, right? After a crazy interest rate, a 25-year loan, seller finance actually, but he made us do it at the bank rate. So I think it's like an 8% loan, and we raised $200,000. We're paying 11% on from friends and family, and we started pushing that money to them and cash flowing ourselves. We're like, wow, this is awesome, right? And so I think that flipped the switch to then allow us to do a fund, because if we hadn't done that first, I don't think we would have felt like, oh, okay, they're loving it. They both want passive. The investors wanted passive returns. They're getting that mailbox money. They're getting it at a better rate than they could get it in any other bank, better than the stock market. And so when we did a fund, we're like, well, we can offer even better returns now because they're getting equity stakes too.
On that first deal, since it was just friends and family, did you set up like a formal syndication, or did you just create like an LLC and
that's simply just a private money backed by the real estate. So that's not even, they're not equity partners. They're just getting 11%. But yeah, on the fund, what we ended up doing, and you'll get past some of the if you're like, I don't know, should I do it? Well, then go talk to the SEC attorney that might file it for you, because they'll answer the questions and maybe that will help you get more comfortable. And that consultation is going to be free. It's the paying for the actual setup that you pay for. So now we knew we had to do it because we were given the opportunity to raise for these homes. So we're like, we're doing it. And here's the guy that came recommended and ready to go. And we got it done. But we ended up doing and I can't for the life of me recall the formal term for it, but for me, it's like a syndication fund. So it allows us to raise money for specific deals within one fund. We just do a new private placement memorandum for each deal. And then the investors aren't exposed to all the deals. They're just exposed to whatever deal they want to invest in. So essentially it's like doing a syndication over and over and over again with one set of paperwork. So
I love that. Yeah.
It's a new product. Yeah. Awesome. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I've never actually heard of it. So you said it's new, but yeah, I haven't heard of it done like that before.
Yeah, it's a newer thing, and a lot of the portals aren't even really set up for it yet. So that's something that's coming.
Wow, that's exciting. So with all of this massive growth, and everything that you're doing, can you lay it out, which you might already have, of everything you're doing right now in life today? Because it's like massive, and I'm trying to keep track, but I'm sure there's like so many things on the plate. Just from like the first time you hopped on the call, you said what's happening, everything's going on. Can you kind of let us know what life is today and what's happening, like kind of time stamping it?
Yeah, when I figure that out, I'll call you. How about that? No, so it's been crazy. I wouldn't have anticipated a year ago that we'd have this group, that we'd have a mastermind, that we'd have a fund, but our focus has shifted a lot from let's buy lease to operator to let's raise money for actual operations. So now we get a cut of the business, which we still love and want to do more of, to let's own our own as well. And there's a couple ways we can do that. And it's partially we continue to raise because we keep getting pieces of other deals. But I think we're going down the path of owning as well. So that's we're leading up to it. It's really great having a mastermind because we're also learning too, right? The point of a mastermind is you bring in all these experts. You don't have to be the expert at everything. Yes, we're experts at some things, and that's helpful. But really, we bring in all these other experts, and together we're learning, holding each other accountable. And so we've got some plans. We're going to be raising more money, especially focused on our RAL Room members. So it's kind of twofold for them. They're getting the opportunity to really accelerate getting into assisted living and achieve financial freedom from even just one home, which tell me a higher and better use of a residential home. There is none, right? As well as it gives us the opportunity to raise money for our members, which is a critical gap in the industry, not just the mastermind, but the funding piece. So really we're creating multiple solutions that all mesh together just kind of by happenstance. It's just working out that way. So we're testing that more and more of raising money for our members, as well as teaching them how to do it. So I don't want anybody to think they can't do it. They absolutely can. And we're just saying, hey, we're happy to, if it makes sense for you, here's what we could do. If not, here's how we did it. Right. And you're totally capable. And we want to give them that skill set. So really it's up to them. We're giving them the options. But now we're looking at, hey, we want to own more and more of the actual business opportunities. What does that look like? And for us, it's going to have to be, it's one of two things. It's probably both. We're going to be acquiring deals that are big enough to have managers in place.
Sure. And
we're going to find land and build some really nice luxury homes from the ground up. And that's going to be,
that's cool.
That's coming. That's a long build though. So we want to get into it now, and we want to start that process, which will probably take 2 years from, start to finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What state are you primarily wanting to do the build from ground up on? Are you open to the map or?
We're focused on Virginia right now because we're all going to be here by next summer. Okay. And I'm here now, and I do really see an opportunity over all of the state, but shoot, this would work just about anywhere. So I would be open to it just about anywhere. And I know people build.
Hey, we're definitely going to be doing a follow-up call with you, me, and Will. I'm serious about Will and I being your Florida partners on this. Will and I are definitely interested in the build to rent space, and this is right up the alley of things we've talked about. So, I mean, I definitely loved it. So what's the next 12 months look like for you? What's the 12-month plan?
I think we're going to raise a lot more money. I think we're going to add a lot more value to the mastermind. So we're going to be bringing in a lot more speakers. We're bringing in 6 a month right now. We've got more stuff they've asked for. We're going to build for them. And I think we're going to, 12 months from now, we'll talk about the homes that we fully own and operate, and as well as the lot we have that we're building on. I think that's where we'll be in 12 months. Both those things will be in play for us.
Massive. That's awesome. So if that's the next 12 months, and this is big time because I know you're a big picture guy, what's the lifetime goal or the end game for everything, for Ral, for you, yourself, your business partner, your family? What's that big picture?
Oh gosh, well that's a crazy open-ended question. So and the cool thing about having partners, and my partners are amazing, is that you kind of all have different goals and different mindsets and different end states, and that's okay, right? And so we're still figuring what the Open Range Capital goal is. I think it's going to be acquiring some properties, and we've got to decide. We're all family men. We don't want to get totally consumed by business.
That's great.
However, as entrepreneurs, especially male entrepreneurs, it's just built into us. We like growth and having an outlet for that. So we're still going to want to be building things. So, if you told me, hey, here's $1 million a day, I couldn't just go sit on a beach. I get antsy and I'm ready to, all right, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to build a charity. I'm going to build a skyscraper. I would be on to the next, what am I going to build? So the answer is still up in the air for Open Range Capital. I think we're going to buy some properties, and we're either going to be part of building a big portfolio that could eventually be sold, or we're going to do that with the right team in place so that it's not all consuming. In terms of me, I look at everything from a life intent, and I work kind of outwards from there. And my life intent is something to the effect of create a life full of amazing moments through freedom, right? Freedom and passionate work. It's not about passive income for me. It's about passionate income. So if I'm doing that, then I'm succeeding. And I've got some levels and time goals. I want to hit certain income levels and stuff to make that true. But I don't even know. Who knows? 12 months from now, I don't even know what I'm going to be saying.
Yeah, that 12,000 group is 120,000, 1.2 million. Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be insane.
Can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just really I'm blown away by how quickly you've scaled that. I mean, I just think it's incredible. And I think it's amazing because we definitely, being a real estate podcast, passive income is obviously what's to talk about. I think all of us desire that, but passionate income is something we haven't really heard a guest talk about. And I really like that take on it because what you're doing really is great work. It benefits the person staying in the home, it benefits the family, and it benefits the investor. So it's just I think it's beautiful when something like that just really works out and everybody benefits and they're really all winners and losers. So what are maybe your favorite book or top 3 favorite books that really had the biggest impact to help you get to where you are today in business and real estate?
Yeah. I could probably list books till our faces are blue, but what? I'll list a couple that have had the biggest impact. The one thing, Gary Keller, that really changed things for me in terms of productivity. I used to be a big I'm going to make a list just to check shit off, and that. Okay, cool. That's good for the endorphin rush, but it's not the most important task, and it's not going to get you the most results. And so that was big for me. I implement that in my business daily. Every single day, I look at my priorities. I select the ones that are going to make the most progress, and I focus on those. But so that was big for me. I like Free to Focus, mostly for the Freedom Compass, to figure out what tasks you should be doing and what tasks you absolutely should not be doing with your time, which leads to that passionate income thing. If you worked 30 hours a week, but all 30 hours, or at least 25 of them, were on things you find fun, you probably like being on this podcast, right? So if that's all you did and everything else got done for you, how much faster would you grow, right? You probably don't like editing the podcast though. So if you hired that out, then guess what? Now you can do another podcast, and then your channel will grow faster. So a lot of people are focused on this. I got to do it all, or I got to save money, or I got to, it's got to be passive. No, it doesn't. You need to just hire out the crap you don't like. And now you're living your ideal life, even though you're quote unquote working. It's just fun, right? So Free to Focus has this kind of cool exercise where you can do that compass and figure out what tasks you should be doing and what you shouldn't. And then the book that's been the most impactful lately to kind of put all 3 of these together is Who Not How.
Love that book.
Oh, dude, I just consumed it and then just totally implemented it into my business. And we just started hiring like crazy. And I think that was the most important read for me getting into operations. Of you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to hire the people who do.
Totally. Dan Sullivan, right? That's a good one.
Yep.
Man, those are all awesome recommendations. And I always love that perspective that there's really great books, but some books are better in your specific life and in time points, right? And things hit differently. And that's what I've really enjoyed, kind of like what you were saying, do things that you enjoy. Something that's been really great about the podcast is like sometimes things that I've thought of in the past they're coming back by having guests and then diving way deeper in personal experiences, and it kind of like relights that fire or something, or totally ignites a fire that I didn't even know existed. So always thanks for those shares. I just wrote them down. And to wrap this up, I know this has been just a really fun and informative chat, and I love it, and I know the guests would too. But if someone was to get started today, didn't have any type of background in residential assisted living and wanted to do what you do, what's like the best but most effective advice besides joining your Facebook group?
Well, I would start there because we also have a 10-step guide. Like, hey, here's how you start an assisted living home. Here's how you launch a home.
Oh, I was meaning besides, because that's what they have to do.
Yeah. Okay. They got to do that. You got to go get our free guide and join the free Facebook group, right? Because you don't know. And it gives you some idea of what's going on. But you can listen to our Row Room Assisted Living podcast that's about to launch. We just uploaded the trailer today. So that'll be out there. That'll give some good insights. We're basically just going to interview operators and some other industry experts, but more of like, hey, here's the nitty gritty on how to do this thing. And man, we've already had some great records, so I'm stoked for that. But and then if it interests you more, then come check out the mastermind or find some other program. But one thing I've learned over time is that you don't have to do it all yourself. You don't have to make the same mistakes everybody else made. I've done them all, and I'm tired of it. And now I'm paying now I pay others to coach me or help me avoid the mistakes. Sure. And I highly recommend that path now to people. So a lot of folks are like, I don't even know where to go next. Awesome. Go find somebody to help bring you along that journey. Don't just bang your head against the wall forever. It's just not worth it.
Oh man, yeah. I love it.
If someone wanted to sign up for your mastermind today, where would they go?
They would just go to the RAL room, the rowroom.com, and they could sign up right there. Or if they're like, man, this is awesome, I don't think I can operate a home right now, but I want to invest in it, you can do that there as well.
Amazing. Perfect. Yeah, we'll link that in the show notes and everything. So that's super exciting. And where can they get in touch with you the easiest? Is it through Facebook? Is it Instagram?
Yeah, I suck it in. So it's go to the Row Room or go to the Facebook community. That's going to be the easiest way. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right,
what about you? Yep, RAL, like residential assisted living. Where can I find you, Sam?
Yeah, so best way to get in touch with me is either our website, theeliterealestatepodcast.com, or my personal Instagram, which is Sam_FloridaMan. So feel free to shoot me any deals you're looking at, and we will definitely take a look at them. And we are always looking to help people get started in real estate. So if you got any deals you're looking at yourself and just want a second opinion on, feel free to shoot it to us, and we'll give you ours. We'll let you know if it's something we're not the best person to give advice on. But like I said, we love helping people however we can. And then Will, where's the best place to go get in touch with you?
Yeah, same way. And to your point, we're trying to get as many different types of real estate niches on the podcast. So like what Sam said, we're here to help, and that's what this is. It's just going for free for everyone to listen. And big shout out to Clean Eats, who allows us to get these really great guests. But because it is free, it's a resource. There's a lot of questions that we don't know. That's it, like this is like my favorite, like Sam said, it's like my favorite hour of the week, every week, that we get to learn from really cool guests. And then on top of that, all of these people are experts. I mean, 48 months and look what he's done. I mean, you have a fund. It's amazing. So like being able to get guests and things like this, if we can't necessarily answer the question, we'll hopefully be able to point you in the right direction, mostly with the guests that we've had who are experts in their own field. But if you do want to contact me, you can go to eliterealestatepodcast.com, just like Sam said, or elite, REIFL.WMcClelland, like my name, on Instagram. And man, how fun. I cannot wait to dive in deeper and do another episode. And then maybe definitely send us all the information for your podcast too, whenever you guys launch.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. No, we definitely want to check that out. And everybody, I recommend everybody go to therowroom.com just because I know as soon as we hang up this episode, I'm going to check it out myself, because I'm definitely interested in joining the mastermind, just because this is something I've been wanting to learn a lot more on. And you definitely have scaled quicker in this particular niche than I've seen almost anyone scale in anything in real estate. But just from building your group, your fund, number of properties you have, I mean, it's definitely impressive. So hats off to you, Charlie, and thank you so much for giving us your time today and coming on our show.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, no, thanks again. And just like he said, it's worth paying people for their time and expertise. And I just was on the RAL room, and something that I love that you offer is you have a monthly option too, because sometimes taking a big bite for annual plan is tough. So that's something that's really cool. So if you guys have time after the episode, click down in the show notes, therowroom.com. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. What a blast.
See y'all next time.
See ya. Cool.
All right, man. And I'm definitely going to be checking it. That's fine. How much is your mastermind, by the way?
We're charging $2,750 a year or $250 a month right now. It's going to go up to $3,000 by the end of the year.
That's cool. Yeah,
I
love that. I saw that. That's why I wanted to put in the month to month, because that's something that I think is going to really continue your massive growth. Like there's a lot of things, like if you want to be a real estate agent, if you want to be a loan originator, if you want to do whatever it is, but the packages are $10,000, and there's something like that, and they don't really offer the smaller packages. So that's cool, because you're going to be able to touch and help so many people. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're stoked about it, dude. So, I mean, I didn't envision we'd even launch a mastermind, but man, it's been so fun to just, like, it's the best of both worlds. I get to talk to people about real estate. I get to also learn from experts. I get paid to do it. And all these people are fantastic entrepreneurs, and they're already making huge moves. It's just so much fun.
How many
you guys
people
should definitely consider a mastermind if you don't have
I was going to say, what if Will and I were wanting to try to find property to do the build from scratch on, what parameters, like what's the minimums we need to be looking at to do that?
Generally when we're talking about, sorry, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Generally you want at least an acre per home. I'll let you on a little secret. We're trying to buy big acreage, like 6-7 acres, and build 6 homes, 1 to 2 at a time. I mean, these are big 5,000 square foot, 16 bed memory care type homes. So they're pretty big, and they're single story. So you got to have a lot of space to plop that down. And if we get a big enough lot, we have the opportunity to add like a indoor outdoor rec space in the middle kind of thing that they can all share. So that's a goal of ours we want to go do. We see people doing it. There's a guy out there that basically kind of coined that model, and just had him on the podcast. What a great dude. So we're bringing him on to come talk as well. And some of our
we have about 2 acres off of Pine Forest right now. Here in Pensacola.
We'll build 2 of them. We'll build 2 of them.
Yeah, I'm already like going through my head, like, is this a place we could do it? Yeah,
I would have to look at like income level and median income. Like, I'm not sure it would support like super luxury, but it would certainly support just nice assisted living. Now, Florida has a limit. I think it's 8 residents per home before it becomes commercial classification from a building perspective. So your fire requirements get a lot harder. Not that it's not doable. If you're building from the ground up, that's the way to do it. Like, but converting to try and do more than, actually it might be only 6. So I think you certainly want to, if I was to do it in Florida, I would only be building from the ground up instead of converting because of that requirement. You do not want a home with 6 residents because you're like barely making money when you're occupied, and then it's bad news if you're not, right? And then you get the death spiral. So I do have to run, but dudes, this was awesome. Thanks for having me. And if I can help you guys in any way, just reach out, man. You got my number.
Cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The only last thing is if you had any other people you'd recommend to hop on the podcast or anything, and you can text us or email us.
Yeah. If you want more assisted living, I can throw Alex on there.
Perfect. That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
set it up.
Yeah, I'll connect you with them.
Perfect. Well, man, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for giving us your time, and we'll let you go pick up your kids.
Sweet. Appreciate it, boys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.